Hey everyone, I'm Joe McNamee. I teach people how to buy and sell real estate without using their money, credit, or a lender of any type. More importantly, I show them how to have it sold before they commit to it. So this one here I'm going to talk about, it's got a little interesting twist to it. The thing that happened was, my son, this is about 45 minutes from the normal area that I work. But my son was going back and forth because there's a college there, Georgia Southern. He was doing a lot of music making. He was doing a lot of DJing and stuff like that. So he was constantly in this town of Statesboro. And so I said to him, hey Mike, while you're there, how about throwing some signs up for me? So he put a few signs up, and of course the one sign said, we buy houses. So right down the street, these people contacted that sign, and which got to me, and they came in. They were, I want to say they were, I'm trying to remember, I think they were like 1 or 2 payments behind when they came into us. They owed a whole lot less than what the house was worth, but they just wanted the burden of the debt off of them. So what I did was I put an option to purchase in place, and I bought this house. As soon as my first end buyer popped up, I went ahead and went to closing and bought it subject to. I already decided that I was going to do it because they owed a whole lot less than what the house was worth in the conventional wisdom world, and it's worth even more in my world. So we went ahead and did a little bit of carpet work. We did had somebody do the painting and stuff like that. Well, the end buyer paid us, I don't know, 12 or 14,000 down, and while I was working with the seller was getting the harassing calls from the lender because the loan hadn't been paid off yet. But while I was working with the seller kept trying to satisfy the lender by telling them all different kinds of things that I would have preferred her not to say. But nonetheless, we went to closing and I bought it subject to. Well, right after the closing, of course, a subject to purchase, there's no funds being sent to pay off the loan that was in place. So my plan was to just make the payments on the house, just pick up where she left off. I'd catch up the payments and make the payments on the house because that's what the lender really wanted to begin with anyway. Well, what I didn't know, when she was having the seller was having a conversation with the lender on this, she was telling the lender that it was going to be paid off. She wasn't explaining to them that I was just taking over the debt. She told them it was going to be paid off. So they expected the loan to be paid off. So my attorney, who's also a judge, this particular attorney, received the phone call from the lender after the closing saying, where's my check? Or where's my wire transfer? And the attorney said, well, that's not the way that this deal was set up. But here's the name and number of the buyer so that you can talk to him, which was me. So the lender called me, and my attorney also had called me right away too and said what was going on. And so we chit-chatted a little bit, and the lender really, really, really wanted to be paid off. Well, normally I wouldn't, but the house, I think that they owed half of what that house was worth. So it was like, and I'd already done some carpet work. I already had an end buyer, paying me up front for this place and all. Did a little bit of paint work and all. It's like, okay, this one here, I better just go ahead and pay the lender off. I don't have to, but I probably should just go ahead and do it just to make everybody satisfied. Of course, at this point, the seller still, which I've already gone to closing with, the seller's still kind of like up in arms and all that kind of stuff too. So it's like, well, let's just go ahead and fix this one. So I contacted a private lender, had the private lender provide the funds, paid off the original lender on it, and so now that private lender got put in place. I think that private lender makes about 7.5% or 8% off of that, and they've been in that deal with me for, I want to say, at least 4 years, maybe 5 years. And we've made a lot of money off that house. We've had a few people move in and move out and all over time, but it's made a tremendous amount of profit. You saw what it was on the Pinterest photo in the beginning. But that's what went on there. So we used a private lender to go ahead and pay off that lender on the, the original lender on this. Only because it was, the loan on it was half of what the value was. And so it solved everyone's problem and made it where I kept control of the property.